Hey people, it's Ed EDDBUD here. It's that time of the week for a nice hefty dollop of running and shoe related news for you. I'm going to delve into the most succulent pieces of information for you. Let's get to it. Thanks for joining me on the channel. If you haven't done so yet, help us out by hitting that subscribe button. But also, give this video a thumbs up like. You know what to do, Dankeschön. Lots of stories to get through this week, so let's get straight in there. Story 1, gotta talk about the shoe launch for the Alphafly 3 prototype colorway, and it was an absolute pain in the midsole. Over in the UK, 3 different stores had pairs of the shoes available at 8 AM on the 4th of January. Pro Direct Running, sportshoes.com and Nike itself. It was fruitless really on the Nike store, frantic tapping and reloading, and all the shoes were clearly bought by bots or people that had some type of software to get them. I think only a few people who actually really want to run in the shoes got lucky. I came to a realization that it was just a pointless effort really there and went over to sportshoes.com, placed them into my basket, checked out and thought I'd got a pair. Sadly, later on I got an email to suggest that they couldn't fulfill my order and they've sort of oversold the stock. I have to be honest, I bought a lot of shoes from that company over the years and done a lot of promotion of some of their discount shoes. For example, I did let them know I wasn't particularly happy about the whole situation. They did offer me up a crazy discount on like some Nike shoes they had in stock at the time, but I've reviewed practically everything I want to review on there. I wasn't best pleased, but you know, at that point, what can you do? Not a lot really. No other UK stores have got any pairs in my size, so I just put my phone away and forgot about it. It's only a shoe after all. I think perhaps lower stock numbers, of course, this sort of artificial madness really of people wanting to grab the shoes, hyping them up a bit like Air Jordan or something. You have to remember though, this shoe isn't all that different from the Alphafly 1 and 2. You got practically the same materials there, just in a very slightly different configuration. Same foam, same pods, and I'm still expecting it to feel not quite perhaps as cushioned as something like the Vaporfly or the Endorphin Pro 3. Those AirPods are a little bit more aggressive in terms of their response. I am though expecting something exciting in this shoe. Pretty much everybody that's reviewed it so far do say it is quite an exciting shoe to run in, and that's my game, that's what I like. Does that mean we should pay these crazy resale prices? Well, actually looking at StockX, they're not actually that crazy. I think if people picked up the Alphafly 3 hoping to make a quick buck, I think they're going to be out of luck. Looking at some of the asks up on StockX for the shoes, they're somewhere around £400 to £500, but there aren't really any sales. Very few sales in fact over the last couple of days. There were on like that initial day when no one actually had the shoes in hand, they were still waiting for them to turn up. eBay have got lots of them up as well at similar prices, perhaps even a bit more. I think perhaps some of the sellers are going to be out of luck really. They have already announced that other colorway of the shoe is going to release in March, I think even late February in some regions of the world. I think if you're considering picking up a pair via StockX or perhaps eBay, do think twice about it people. £285 retail is an awful lot of money, and adding on some extra costs just for the sort of prestige of having some shoe, it's just not worth it. And remember that you're just one stone or thorn away from destroying that ZoomX. Did you manage to get a pair? Have you bought one from the reseller sites? Or are you just completely disinterested in Nike shoes? Let us know your views and thoughts down in the comments. Okay, story 2. You know I like a good running shoe guide. You know, buyer's guides, everybody likes to check those out. There's a new one from TOMSGUIDE, and I think it's worth checking out. This one's actually not that crazy. There's quite a few here, so I've tried to sort of minimize it down to the ones people will be most interested. Let's get to it. So in their quick list, the best overall shoe being the Pegasus 40. Now, this is a reasonably good shoe. I wouldn't suggest it's the best overall though, the best like running shoe could possibly buy if you had to just have one. I mean, it can handle most things that are thrown at it, but it's not really a master of anything in particular. I think there are some better daily, sort of more versatile shoes out there. So I think it's a good starter one if you're perhaps getting into running, but from my perspective, not the best overall. The best Brooks shoe is the Glycerin 20. This isn't one that I've tested, but it must be an absolute banger if it's better than the Ghost Max or perhaps the Hyperion Max as well. Those have got tons of cushion and come very high in the sort of top tier lists from other places, certainly, and me. Definitely two of the best shoes that have been released over the last few months that I've tested. So the Glycerin 20 must be an absolute banger. Now, best Adidas shoe they have listed as the Ultra Boost Light. Now, there's loads of good Adidas shoes currently out there in the wild. The Boston 12, you've got the Tumi Sen series, any of the last three in fact, the Adios Pro 3, the Adios 8, all shoes that are better than this one from my perspective, certainly. There's something there for everybody as well. I think there's a reason that the Ultra Boost Light really didn't take off. Adidas still sort of living in the shadow of Ultra Boost material. I just think the older versions, perhaps the shine has gone off them a little bit. Best race day shoe, the Vaporfly 3 from Nike. I think that the surplus pairs of this shoe all across the internet sort of hang like a spectre really and tell you everything you need to know about the Vaporfly 3. So many of you out there actually find that you have the same problems as I did with that shoe. Yeah, it's that little bit more durable than perhaps the 1 and 2, but the other stat that surprises me recently is that more and more people are choosing to wear Adidas and Asics models over Nike shoes over the last 3 or 4 years. It's just going up and up, and the sort of balance is starting to be addressed. They've got the Invincible Run 3 from Nike as the best max cushion shoe. I maybe would have included the Invincible Run 1 or 2, but not the 3. Too many people have heel slip problems with that shoe right now. I think if you want max cushion and something that's really fun to run in, the Prime X Strung is up there, or perhaps try out that Brooks Ghost Max, and it's a damn sight cheaper as well than the Invincible Run 3. Their top 12 shoes were kind of weird as well. All of these shoes kind of are included within that list. They've got the New Balance SC Elite version 3 in at like number 10, and they have the 1080 V13 from New Balance at position 2 of the whole lot, just behind the Pegasus. It's a bit of an odd list in some ways. There's some sense there, and certainly some of the written descriptions are actually pretty good. It's just the positioning of the shoes within their system just seems a little off. It does seem to be a heavy kind of selection of shoes that sell well, or at least supposedly good, and that people like, almost a bit like an ad of sorts. Well, it is what it is. It's certainly not the worst list in the world. There's a bit of sense here. Don't think I agree on all of their selections, but yeah, it's not bad. What do you guys make of this one? Let me know down in the comments. There's a whole bunch of shoe releases now. Let's take a deep breath before we get into it. Puma have just announced the update to their daily offering, the Velocity Nitro 3. This is coming in that psychedelic rush colorway that we're going to see across all of their range very soon. You got some midsole hints there that are not all that different to the forthcoming Farstar Nitro Elite 2. Wish I could talk about that one a bit more, but I can't. I got something special lined up for that. The upper mesh here, very close to what we saw on the Float Ride Energy 3 model from Reebok a little while back. So potentially lots of breathability there in the upper of the Velocity Nitro 3. The split tongue there keeping the ankle nice and flexible. It does look like Puma are sticking with that sort of thicker layer of nitro on top of a Pro Foam layer. I think it is Pro Foam. That's going to enhance the durability and the stability of the shoe a little bit. Puma grip, of course, on the outsole for the long haul. Puma state the sample size is around 264 grams and a 36mm stack in the heel. So that's going to be about 40mm for me, which certainly makes it a little bit more cushioned than perhaps some of the previous Velocity Nitro models. And hopefully it'll bring it in under 300 grams as well. So 10mm drop, €130 price tag on this one, so they're keeping it nice and sustainable there in terms of price. I think this one releases on January the 24th, so keep your eyes peeled. Of course, there is a small upstart brand called Nike. They've launched the Alphafly 3. I think for real, this one's going to come out very end of February, early March. It's already up on the Nike website here in the UK. Now, I've got to be honest that this colourway is a total abomination. It is awful. Volt, Dusty Cactus, Total Orange and Concord, apparently. I just think it looks really, really tacky. And the text on the heel and stuff, it's a real turn-off. I think if I was going to get a pair, I'd try and remove that in some way. It just looks like a children's toy or something. I think it's only going to appeal to those who absolutely must have the shoe. I do hope there's some better colourways coming of the Alphafly 3, because this thing just... yeah, it does not speak to me in any way. And it's the type of material as well that if I wear this out on my local routes where there's mud and debris and dirt, they're just gonna look terrible in seconds. At least with the white version, it's just gonna slowly build up over time. You can have a nice patina to it. It's gonna look pretty dirty after a few moments. You might almost suggest that Nike are goading us with this second version. Yeah, I mean, if you like it, great. I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm not going to be beholding this one. Definitely not. And lastly, the Tumi Sen 10 has launched over here in the UK. Low weight, nimble shoe. It's available for 170 big ones. Features the same energy rods found in the Pro 3. And I think the Pro Evo, perhaps, that we saw recently. Only 200 grams in the sample size, which means it's very, very light. Might even suggest when it arrives that there's no shoes in the box. 6mm drop on these, and carrying lots of the Adidas Pro 3 vibes in the heel area. Though it does stick out in the green spark, I can confirm it's super easy to clean this model. Over at the Adidas website right now, I'm sure you can find a discount code perhaps to pick the shoe up from a little bit cheaper from another shoe retailer who I'm not going to name. Check my video out on this one in the card that's on the screen right now, or I'll link it at the end of today's video. Okay, that's all the running related news I've got for you today. If you spot any good stories, drop me an email in the description of this video. Very quick musical interlude for you. Over the weekend I had to run a faster session on the Sunday. I needed some music to really get me up for it. Whenever that occasion comes around, I have to select Andrew WK. Energy and just general good vibes are always what you require. I went for God Is Partying from 2021. This one's got a real range of different types of music on there. There's some quite heavy, almost metal style stuff, I suppose, and then some sort of power rock stuff. I think the track I Made It, that's a really good one. Actually sort of drives you on. Stay true to your heart as well. There's some fantastic positive messages here on Andrew WK's most recent album. So many good tracks for a sort of longer session. You don't really need to skip any of them either. They all have something to offer for that run, and the sort of psychological changes that you go through as you're going through a longer session. Can you keep going? Well, yes you can. Andrew WK will convince you. God Is Partying by Andrew WK. Thanks for tuning in to the running news. It's always appreciated. Make sure you help us out by hitting that subscribe button, but also giving this video a thumbs up like. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you